Good morning, Unity in Marin. I said, good morning.
Good morning.
We're going to sing a song written by Robert Anderson entitled, I Am a Light. And there's supposed to be there it is. And it's kind of a call and response, so I'll sing it and you respond. We're hoping. I am a light. I am a light. In this world, I am a light. I am a light. I am a light. In this world, I am a light. This is the place. This is the time. Gonna let it shine. Yeah, let it shine. I feel the joy. Come on, I feel the joy. Oh, in this world, I feel the joy. I see the joy. I see the joy in this world. I see the joy. This is the place. This is the time. Yeah, let it shine. Yeah, let it shine. I'm living love, oh, every day. I am living love in every way. Spreading peace along the way. Living love every day. Right here, right now. Right place and time. Living love every day. Living love every day. We are the light. We are the light. In this world, we are the light. We are the light. We are the light. In this world, we are the light. This is the place. This is the time to let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine.
Good morning. If I'm awake, you have to be awake too. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you. This is Unity in Marin. I am the Reverend Medora Gordon, and whoever we are, whatever our color, size, shape, choice, or desire, we are welcome in this place. There's a wonderful, wonderful service coming our way between Benny and the musicians and our guest, Linda Martellowitz. Fasten your seatbelts and put on your safety helmets. Here we go. As we come together now in silence, we know that we are the light, and we pour that light forth into the world as it generates and emanates and is all of us.
Good morning, Unity in Marin. So just want to acknowledge the family ministry. So if you know of any families who would love to give a great foundation for their children, please invite them to First Service and to family ministry. And with that said, my name is Maria Merritt, and I am going to be your celebration leader for the service this morning. I thank Reverend, thank you, that's so sweet, thank you. And I want to thank Reverend Medora Gordon, who is our acting senior minister. So thank you for opening us up for the service this morning. And if you all would please say with me our vision statement. So we are a spiritual community committed to authenticity and the expression of love and support for each other in living an awakened, enlightened life. And out of our vision statement, the community came up with 3 core commitments, and our first one is connect. And if you could please say with me our connect commitment. We connect with Spirit, inspiring each other, the community, and the world. You might notice in the bulletin this week that there is this insert, and it's for the Unity World Day of Prayer. Please fill that out, and you're going to drop it in the offertory basket. You know, the other prayers that are on the prayer slips go into the box that's in the narthex. Okay, so just a distinction between the two. And can never have too many prayers, right? And again, as far as connecting within our community, there's 7 days, there's a lot of activity all the time here at Unity in Marin. So on Wednesday, this coming Wednesday, September 5th, guest speaker Denise Ruelas, and she's going to be discussing staying aligned in times of chaos. The next activity that we have is Unity World Day of Prayer. Now that is an international event. All unities throughout the world participate in the World Day of Prayer. That's going to be September 12th. The theme this year is Courage to Heal. On that Wednesday, September 12th, we have an extended Wednesday night service, music by Momo, Lisa, Gloria, and then a special guest musician, Shakti Roth, who is he was the pioneer of New Age music. And then also it's a 24-hour vigil. Also, there's a labyrinth to walk through, so just a lot of cool stuff. And again, well, the other thing too, for those of you who cannot sleep in the middle of the night, you are more than welcome, because that's 24 hours of having this, anchoring of this vigil here at Unity in Marin. So, come in your pajamas, who cares? Just come and pray, okay? And then next what we have is, of course, the lighted candle here, reflecting that spark of divinity in each and every one of us. And that candle reminds us of that. And if I could have Elizabeth Drew come forward, who is our prayer chaplain, and she's going to be bringing forward the prayer box. And so your prayers that are placed in that box, there is a group who pray with you here at Unity in Marin for 30 days, and then those prayers are mailed over or sent over to Unity Kansas City for an additional 30 days of prayer. Thank you, Prayer Chaplain. And then the next is, I'm going to read today's Daily Word. Just for those who may not know, the Daily Word is a Unity publication that is distributed worldwide, a very powerful tool. I'm going to read today's word, which is faith, and then from there we will move into our silent meditation. So I ask you to get settled in your seats, maybe take things off of your lap, and here we go. So today's word is faith. I express my faith with every choice I make today. My every choice, no matter how small, expresses my faith in something at that time. Those moment-by-moment choices create my life experience, so it would be impossible to live without faith. The great news is that I can change my focus whenever I choose. I am not a victim of the events and challenges in my life. When I pause for a moment to remember the truth of infinite love, I am at peace. I take time today to observe the life I am living. It is a perfect expression of the faith I am holding. Faith allows me to see peace in the midst of conflict, to find abundance where once there seemed lack, and to love all others rather than judge. But ask in faith, never doubting, for the one who doubts is like a wave of the sea, driven and tossed by the wind. James chapter 1, verse 6. And now we go into the silence.
is a new day with love for all mankind. For all
Am I on? Yeah, I am. I hear it. So if I could have the welcome team come forward. And if this is your first time at Unity in Marin, we have a gift for you. We have a packet of information, and we have a Unity mug to give to you, a coffee mug, tea mug. And all we simply ask is that you raise your hand so that the welcome team can present that to you. And of course, we also invite you to go out to the courtyard after the service where you could meet other Unity members. There's a hub out there where your questions can be answered. So again, welcome. And then also I want to acknowledge our online viewers for your support. And then also want to acknowledge the tech team, John, Tom, Liv, and Pam, who do a lot behind the scenes. And if you can repeat with me, state with me our GROW commitment. We grow in consciousness through education, healing, and prayer. And so growth, okay? So many offerings, again, 7 days a week that things happen here at Unity. And so this coming week, it's SEE week. And so that is for individuals who want to become a licensed Unity teacher. There are certain courses that they have to take and a certain amount of credits that have to be accumulated. So Janice Campbell, who is a licensed Unity teacher, is offering Prosperity. That's on Thursday and Friday. You could sign up for that out at the hub. The other offering that we have, not this Friday, next Friday, but it's Traditional Native American Pathways to Happiness, and that guest speaker is Carolyn Berry. And then on September 16th, we have the author of the book that we're doing as our fall book study. As a community, a book is chosen, and then all of us participate, some in small groups, but even if you're not in a small group, just each Sunday that a chapter or chapters are talked about. And the author, Roger Housden, he's going to kick off that book study. The actual author, who lives, I believe, in Larkspur, is going to come here and present. So that is, I think, very exciting to have the author of our fall book study program being here. And again, that kicks off on September 16th. So please, and sign-ups also for the book studies is out at the hub. I wanted to mention that. As able, if you could please stand and let us sing our statement of truth.
There is only one power, only one presence, active in all my life and in the universe. God the good in all, through all, and over all. There is only one power, only
You can play the game, you can act out the part, though you know it wasn't written for you. Tell me, how can you stand there with your broken heart, ashamed of playing the fool? Well, one thing can lead to another. It doesn't take any sacrifice. Well, father and mother, sister and brother, if it feels nice, don't think twice. Shower the people you love with love. If you know it, sing along. Show them the way that you feel. Things are gonna turn out right if you only will. Well, now shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Things are gonna be much better if you only will. You can run, but you cannot hide. This is widely known. Oh, I know what you're gonna do with your foolish pride when you're all by yourself alone. Once you tell somebody the way that you feel, you can feel it beginning to ease. I think it's true what they say about the squeaky wheel, always getting the grease. Take time and shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Things are gonna be much better if you only will. Join in and sing it with me now. I said, shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Things are gonna turn out right if you only will. Can we hear you sing it one more time, everybody? Come on. Shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Things are gonna turn out right if you only will. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Nicholas Beard.
Thank you.
Carla Kaufman.
Aren't they neat? I just love it when we have guests and it's all so wonderful. And thank you for who you are. And Benny, thank you for bringing everyone. Thank you for you. And this is one of those Sundays where it just gets better and better all the time. We have a guest speaker this morning, and the reason I brought the paper is not because I need to be reminded of details about Linda, but I want to be sure that I get the titles of the books right. In 2011, she was judged the best spiritual author in a competition for her first book, which is How to Pray Without Talking to God. Okay. And then she's gone on to write another book, which is called Divine Audacity, Dare to be the Light of the World. Now, I have to tell you, Linda and I went to school together, right? And she was one of those in the classroom, you know, the teacher quotes people. You know, she'll say, oh, I got a really wonderful paper this week, and so-and-so said da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And Linda was the one that always got quoted. The rest of us could have written, you know, the Bible, and hers would have been quoted. So there are just some people that are wonderful that way, and it's just the way it all turned out. So she and I have been together. We have gone to classes and schools and things together. She, for 14 years, was the platform minister in San Antonio, right? The minister of the church in San Antonio, Unity of San Antonio, and now has up-leveled, if you will, to become the vice president in charge of the prayer ministry at Unity Village. She's exactly where she needs to be. We are gifted and blessed to have you, dear friends, my friend, Linda Martellowitz.
Well, hi. Good morning, everyone. Wow, it's really a thrill to have that sweet little introduction. And I am so grateful to share a Sunday with you all. And I also want to acknowledge those of you on live stream because, you know, love is non-local, right? A non-local phenomenon. So thank you for being a part of this community right where you are. So I want to just acknowledge how grateful I feel for the incredible, impeccable preparations that have gone on behind the scenes here from everyone that has contacted me in preparation for today and the week ahead. I just feel really like there's an intentionality in this community that doesn't happen everywhere I go. So I hope you notice what an incredible community you are a part of, and it means something that you're here. You know, it's something to do with all of you co-creating what is happening here, starting with the leadership and my dear friend and colleague, Reverend Medora. So thank you. Thank you. I am living by a very important mission these days. It's something that has grown in me along my spiritual journey, and it sounds a little like this, and this comes from A Course in Miracles. Today, I will accept the truth about myself. I will arise in glory and allow the light in me to shine upon the world today. Again, today I will accept the truth about myself. I will arise in glory and allow the light in me to shine upon the world today. Thank you. Yeah, responses are okay with me. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. And really, Charles Fillmore said it a little different way in the classic teaching textbook of Unity called Talks on Truth. Charles Fillmore said this, and just listen to this mandate. He said, "It is your mission to express all that you can imagine God to be. Let this be your standard of achievement. Never lower it, nor allow yourself to be belittled by the cry of sacrilege. You can attain to anything you can imagine. If you can imagine it is possible to God, it is also possible to you." Well, that's pretty bold. That's pretty bold. But even Charles Fillmore didn't make that up. You know, Jesus said, and coming from his tradition, the Hebrew tradition, quoting the scriptures in Hebrew, he said, let me tell you something, guys. You are God's sons and daughters of the Most High, every one of you. Jesus' words. And in the Gospel of Thomas, Jesus is said to have been even more direct when he said, "When you see me, you see the Father. When you see me, you see the Father." Well, that's a little audacious, don't you think? That's a little audacious. And I love that Charles Fillmore said, don't worry about people telling you you're being blasphemous. Just do it anyway. He's like, don't worry that people are going to tell you you're crosswise with religion. Because you know the religion that most of us have come out of, right? We know the religiosity that tells us you can't be all that. In fact, it's wrong of you to be all that because God is the power. And in order for God to be powerful, we humans have to be weak. Is that the way it works? That's what we've been told. That's what the culture tells us. And that culture, you know, that has just only become more and more that same culture through the generations is just very strong today in the world. That mentality that says, what are humans? We're sinners, we're worms of the dust, and only God has the power. And so there's this incredible separation that is inherent in the Western religious mindset. That's no surprise to you, right? You know, and so many of us have been attracted into unity because precisely the unity message, well, it's called unity, right? It's called unity for a reason, because unity is about the oneness of the human with the divine, right? It's the oneness that we all are in truth with a capital T. And so the great challenge of, and the reason why I refer to this book as Divine Audacity, because it takes some chutzpah, doesn't it, in order to be all that, in order to be the light of the world, as of course Jesus also said we're to be. But here's the big rub, and here's the big problem, is that most of the time, most of us really don't believe it. We don't believe it because we were raised not to believe that. How many times did you hear or say to yourself because you heard it, who do you think you are? I've done that a ton of times. How about you? Had that mentality, well, I'm not all that. Is that true? It's not true. It's just the lie we have believed about ourselves. This limited sense of self. So it's perfectly natural because we come out of traditions where we are raised with that idea, you know, and we have this seemingly split mind, right? I mean, I'm as snarky as the next person. I have plenty of snark in me, and it really shows up in places like at the grocery store parking lot when I'm about to pull in and I see that somebody left their cart right where I wanted to be. It's never happened to you, has it? Right? You've never been the one to leave the cart, have you? Please, please. But so there goes my mind, right? My mind goes off on the judgment, the condemnation of that irresponsible, thoughtless human being that dared to leave their cart, right? And so what do? I put on the righteousness, right? I'm like, I know where that cart goes, and I'm going to be a good citizen, and I'm going to put it away, right? So, what's all that? That is just snarky mind. It is just this littlest way of knowing myself, right? It's the littlest form of myself. It's the sideshow. It's supposed to be the sideshow. But when I believe that little nasty little criticizing little judgmental little mind, when I believe that story, I'm making that the main event, right? I'm making that the big tent. That's like what's going on. But it's only a sideshow. It's only really a little bit of nonsense. And this is really important because in unity we have this great tradition of knowing that our transformation, salvation, if you will, is by changing our mind, is by removing those negative, limited thoughts and replacing them with the reality of our true nature. That's the work we do in unity, and it's a lifetime of work, is it not? It's a lifetime of work. So to me, the reason why I have come to conclude that this little sideshow isn't very important is because I know that what happens to me when I'm in that state of being judgmental, for example, is that I don't feel so good about Linda. This is a sign to me. This is a sign to me that there's a longing in me to be greater than this. That longing that I feel when I have not been true to my greatest sense of self. When I have put my head on the pillow at night and realized I'm out of integrity with myself. I didn't do what I promised I would do for my well-being, for nurturing relationships, for healing in my life. I haven't done those things, and I can't sleep so well because of it. There's a gnawing, and that gnawing is the longing inside to express all that I can imagine God to be. There's a direct relationship. And so I finally learned, at 59 years old, I'm further along than that now, but this was 4 or 5 years ago. I learned from my own, I call it excruciating yearning. I learned from that the problem, that yearning is directly related to my true nature that I was really longing to bring out into the open. So this is the challenge of divine audacity. It's to begin to notice that what I'm longing about is a revelation of the qualities of God that are natural to me. Now, I never say, I am God. You won't read it in my books. You won't hear it out of my mouth except for this example right now, right? I never say that. Why? Not because it isn't true, because all of God is appearing in any moment, everywhere, and I can't be outside of everywhere. I can't be the great exception, right? Everybody else is divine, but not Linda. No. So we can disabuse ourselves of that ridiculous idea that we could be some kind of great exception. Are you with me, guys? Okay. So, what I have had to come to understand is that all that God is available in any moment. It's what I live in, it's what I'm made of, and my job is to comprehend one aspect of that nature that I need for this moment, to shine light in this moment. So I don't have to be all of God. In fact, I can't be, because I'm also in human experience, right? But I can be divine love, expressing His harmony when I need it, right? I can be spiritual strength when I need to stand strong as times are shifting. I can be divine wisdom, discerning step by step what direction to follow. You see what I'm saying? That we have this innately in us, and we consider them human qualities, but when we realize the great potential of them, we raise them up a notch, and they become literally divine, audacious capacities that we can bring out into our life, and we can make a difference right where we are. And that's how it's meant to be, is it not? Just like that. It's meant to be. And what gets in our way is this snarky little brain of ours that is trying to tell us a different story. That's all. And the more I believe in that story, the harder it is for me to just agree with my divine identity and to be that, and to not worry that people are going to think I'm full of myself for being powerful. But spiritual power is natural to us when we know, when you see me, you see the Father. Make sense? Makes sense, right. So one of the clues that I have learned, and I'm going to leave you with this as an image to take, because it helps me to hold to this image at times when I'm believing too much in that negative, diminished sort of sense of self, is this. In Albuquerque, I was hiking, and I came upon this pile of rocks. And somebody said, they're not rocks, they're geodes. Anybody see a geode? Everybody know what a geode is? So what do they look like when you just see them on the side of the hill? Rocks. They just look plain like rocks. But geologists refer to geodes as the Tootsie Roll Pop of the natural world. Why? Because you crack that baby open and there's a sweet surprise on the inside, right? Here's my sweet surprise. This is my geode sitting right in front of my window, facing the tower at Unity Village in the Silent Unity building where I have the privilege of serving. And the light just shimmers through there. So here's the thing about you and about me. You can't see that unless you crack yourself open. And what cracks us open are our challenges. What cracks us open are our need in this moment to be greater than we have imagined ourselves to be. That's what cracks us open. And so what we're afraid of, unfortunately, is that if you crack me open, you're only going to find my nonsense. All you're going to see is my snarky nonsense. You're going to see my evil thoughts, right? All that stuff. But that's not what's in there. Because remember, that's just the sideshow. What's in there is that true reality of all the glimmer and dazzle that you truly are. That's what's on the inside. And you can only see it when you crack open your life and need it, moment by moment by moment. Right? So please take that image with you. It's what I rely upon. I have to look at that thing when I'm having a particularly that kind of day, you know, where it's hard to believe in my true nature, my inner goodness and godness. You know, when I'm unaware of my godness, I need that, right? So here's where one of the ways that this has taken expression in me. You know, I was raised by two Italian Catholic adult children of alcoholics. Anybody kind of know what I'm talking about? Oh my goodness. I'm one of 7 children, good Catholic family, right? And I knew my place in that family system. You know, I was raised to be obedient, and I was a very good girl. I knew my place. I knew what I should do and not do, and I didn't dare disobey because I knew the wrath of my Italian papa, right? So I grew up with this great conformity and feeling, you know, just seeing myself in the way that was given to me, to see myself in that family. And my parents made one big mistake. When I was, you know, about in puberty, got into the Girl Scouts, started traveling, they let me out of the house. And I tell you what, once I got out, man, I started to see things that I didn't know about, right? So I discovered, much to my surprise, that not every family eats spaghetti on Tuesday and fish on Friday. I mean, I could walk through my neighborhood when I was growing up and you could smell the macaroni, right? You could smell the gravy, we called it in Philly, the gravy, the red gravy, the pasta sauce, you might say, right? We could smell it. You could smell the fish on Friday. So it was just a big surprise to me that not everybody lived like that, right? And Catholicism is not the one true religion. Are you kidding? So, I mean, it blew my mind. My world just expanded and expanded, so much so that after graduating from high school and actually from college, I come home wearing a white sari and tilak on my forehead chanting Hare Krishna. And my parents thought I had lost my mind, right? So I'm like, and they're thinking to themselves, and they actually saying to me, you know, you're just dismissing all the values we raised you with and all that. And I'm like, no, nothing could be further from the truth. The fact is that my audacity started to show, and that audacity was the zeal and devotion for a greater experience and knowledge of what God is. I mean, that's a tribute to the way I was raised. They didn't recognize it at the time, but it actually was, right? Same when I became a Unity minister many, many years later. My mother just scratches her head and says to her friends, Linda works for her church. You know, I had no, like a woman minister? No, they don't have women priests, right? But the biggest thing for me, and this is the story I want to tell because it's really our story, all human story, but you know, when the biggest thing I did that was audacious for my family was I treated my family to our first ever, guess who's coming to dinner? I did. When I and my husband and Giles decided to marry, and my father disowned me. That very night, he disowned me. There's more to the story. It's okay. But that was, you can imagine, just a horrible, painful thing. So here's what Linda had to do about that. For the next 9 years, I had training, certainly yoga, meditation. I had a unity mind, right? And so I knew that I was responsible for my relationship with my father. That if there was ever going to be healing, it was up to me. Healing was a challenge with him directly, because when I would call him from Honolulu, where my husband and I lived, I would have my dad, he would hear my voice and hang the phone up on me. If my mother was home, he'd just set it down, because my mother did not disown me, right? So he set the phone down, and 20 minutes later, she'd see the phone was off the hook. These were in the days in the late 1970s, early 1980s, when long-distance phone calls were pretty expensive, right? When my maternal grandmother died and I flew home and went to the funeral home, my dad saw me and walked out the other door. He just couldn't even be there for his wife because of the pain. So this is just important to frame for you how difficult this was. And it was pretty clear to my family that my dad was going to take this to his grave, that we'd never have a reconciliation. And it was reasonable to believe that, in considering how he responded when I would send pictures of our children back to Philadelphia, and family members would sort of in a clandestine way show them to one another, because you can't irritate dad, right? You can't show him. So that's kind of the culture in which it was, and everyone believed this. But Linda was determined to understand the reality of divine love, which is one of our powers, one of our superpowers, our capacities. And what I got very clear about right from the beginning was that my job was to not disown my father. My job was to know the reality of that unifying power of divine love that is non-local, that is not dependent upon circumstances, that has nothing to do with our personalities or our judgments. And that my job was to hold my mind and heart in love with my father. Do you think that was easy? You know it wasn't easy. It was the most challenging thing of my life. And in fact, I had my feelings. I'm no saint. I had my feelings. I would have tantrums. Look, when each of my children were born, I had tantrums of just pain and heartache, of not being able to share that with my dad, right? I would write him nasty letters. I just didn't mail them, right? I would write him pleading letters, and I would mail those. But I worked day by day in meditation to sit him in front of me in my mind, and to keep my heart open, to be ever ready for that moment of healing between us, right? Hardest work of life. Yet, it was clear to me there's the only way I was going to be able to sleep every night was to do that. So, 9 years later, I had this vision of him one morning in meditation where the disciplinarian dropped away. It was sort of like peeling an onion, right? The layers of the onion coming off, and this tough Italian papa, perfectionistic, demanding father, all just dropped away. And what was in front of my eyes was a little boy, frightened and longing for love. And I recognized myself in him. We were one. it's probably no surprise to you that just weeks later, I talked to my father for the first time. It was on a Thanksgiving morning in 1987. I thought it was my brother, but it was my dad, and he was asking for forgiveness. I'll never believe in a hopeless case, ever, ever, ever again. But beside that, the point of this is that there's nothing more audacious than standing in love where love is not my experience, right? When I'm not experiencing that love, to stand in it and be it anyway. To stand it until love proves itself. And look, love is just one of our superpowers. Look, all these powers are ours to cultivate, to activate, to study and learn about. And that's what you can do with Divine Audacity. It's a modern day treatment of the 12 powers. Unity's great teaching about that. And you can discipline your mind to focus on one power and stay with it until you become masterful at utilizing that power for the things that you need day by day by day. That's what it means to be the light of the world. And that's what's possible. Audacious, yes, but divine. Divine. It's recognizing where the real power is, which is in your true nature, which is divine, and not the little human snarkly, sniggering little scaredy cat brain. Not making that so darn important. But more important is that agreement with our nature. So I want to show you a picture in a second here, but my dad is now almost 88 years old. He's had a lot of physical challenges. He's been in and out of the hospital and in a wheelchair nowadays. But 9 years later, we had this incredible healing. So I want to show you his picture. And he's sitting there at his kitchen table with my husband, Giles, who we're celebrating our 39th wedding anniversary next week. I laughingly say, we're doing okay so far, But you'll see this San Antonio boot there. It's a stained glass piece of work. My dad's a stained glass artist, and he made this for Giles after we left San Antonio to move to Unity Village, where I'm serving nowadays. So there's great love between these two men these days, and it's just such a testament to the power of divine love. And it's not something that happened by accident. You get this, right? I feel absolutely 100% responsible for, because I was able to be responsive in love. So please, if there's any relationship you really feeling, now you're feeling it, you're feeling that longing, that's a good thing. Clean it up. Clean it up now. Clean it up today. Make that phone call, write that letter, go to that graveyard if you have to. Clean it up. This is what is possible. To be the light of the world, we free ourselves from all the things, all the aches and the longings that have been inside of us, because they're pointing us toward what is possible for us. Our nature is possible. It's possible to be the light of the world, moment by moment by moment. That's what we're here for. I'm sticking to it, and I'm going to have you share with me this message. If you will, if you would stand in agreement with me and say, phrase by phrase, today I will accept the truth about myself. Today I will accept the truth about myself. I will arise in glory. And allow the light in me to shine upon the world today. One more time, and say it from your power chakra, from your throat, and from your wisdom center. Speak it out. Today I will accept the truth about myself. I will arise in glory. And allow the light in me to shine upon the world today. Amen. Okay, be seated. All right. So study and pray. So your prayer work, prayer is to get us into agreement. That's all it's for. It's to get us to stop believing in the sideshow and know that the main event is your divine nature being able to be expressed. That's what prayer is all for, to correct consciousness, right? To get us into spiritual agreement. You are the light of the world. Amen? Okay, so our denial. I deny any thought of weakness or insufficiency. In divine audacity, I am the light of the world. You are the light of the world. Thank you.
Did I not tell you? She's fabulous. As our ushers come forward, remember that we are the light of the world. We give and we receive, and we make this wonderful, beautiful place possible. Remember that as we go forward in all that we do.
Just as we give, so we receive. Richly we live in one golden weave. There is nothing that we can lack. We give from love. Love gives it back. Just as we give, so we receive. Richly we live in one golden weave. There is nothing that we can lack. We live from love. Love gives it back. Just as we give, so we receive. Richly we live in one golden weave. There is nothing that we can lack. We give from love. Love gives it back. This is my last service at Unity for right now. And so when Carolyn suggested that I could make the service more special for myself, I decided to, number one, present one of my own songs, and to be joined on stage by my daughter, Leanne. You haven't even heard her yet. My sweetie, Carla Kaufman on the bass. And John, doggone it, I had it there for a minute. De Leon. On the drums. John also acts as our sound man and all around good guy. In fact, I too would like to acknowledge the sound people and the lights and all that they do. Anyway, in 1992, when all of my family was still alive, and I'm the only one left of three boys and my father and mother, my mother had a plaque in our kitchen, in her kitchen actually, and it said, "Love is like a seed that's sown. It grows and spreads life of its own." And I took that idea and wrote this kind of sing-songy little song in 1992. I never performed that song until 2015. Never played it. And Leanne and I, I'm going on, wow. Leanne and I got together and we were just making some music and we decided to make an album together, which is not available, but it will be at some point. Carla played on it, and anyway, that was when we first performed this song. This is called Love Will Follow You.
Love's a simple melody, a circle turning endlessly. Trust in love, your heart to follow. Love will follow you. Love is like a seed that's sown, grows and spreads life of its own. Trust in love, your heart to follow. Love will follow you. Flowers open to the sky. We've been here for all our lives. Love is like a seed that's sown, grows and spreads life of its own. Trust in love, your heart to follow. Love will follow you. Da 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 love will follow you. Love will follow you. Flowers open to the sky. We've been here for all our lives.
Wow, who knew? All this time that you've been here playing our stuff, look what he was able to do. Wonderful, wonderful group. As we bless the offering today, remember that we bless much more than what is just in these baskets. We bless the place, we bless each other, we bless the world that we are in and the gorgeous wonder of the light. Would you all please raise your arms? Everybody up for the blessing. Everybody up, hands up, hands up. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God.
So again, I just want to thank these musicians, Benny, Carla, Leanne, Nick, and John. Yeah. And who I want to thank and acknowledge is Reverend Linda. For me, it was wow. I had shared in the first service that my snarkiness, like I lose divineness when I'm behind the wheel of the car in traffic. Like no one else knows how to drive but me. So thank you for those reminders. And if we together can state our core commitment, serve, we serve spirit, community, and the world with love, joy, and a sense of adventure. So good. So the history of silent unity. We were so special to have Reverend Linda here. So she's going to do this workshop this afternoon, giving us the history of silent unity. And then, in addition, Reverend Linda will be teaching on Tuesday and Wednesday, again, in connection with the SEE classes this week. So 2 days, Unity Prayer class. And again, even if you're not pursuing being a licensed Unity teacher, I just invite you to come and see this fabulous minister. Okay, and sign-ups are out in the hub for Tuesday and Wednesday. And then also we have Transformational NLP, Mysticism and Spirituality, and the guest speaker is Carl Buchheit, and he is this Friday on the 7th, he'll be speaking. And then want to acknowledge Charzelle, who is always here in the breezeway as far as getting hospitality and flower, contributors, sign-ups, donations. And for this week, our flower sponsors are Heidi Woods, and then Cindy Acker and Brianna Robinson. And I really wanted to point out their appreciation to Catherine Graham for carrying and supporting the summer Montessori school. And a shout out to Sarah Gaspari for the beautiful flowers. And then hospitality sponsors were Martha Watt and Mike Pollock. And then I want to acknowledge that Reverend Linda has a table here with her books. Some of her books are in our bookstore. So her 2 books are Divine Audacity and How to Pray Without Talking to God. And if you could go and stop by and see Linda and the team, because it's these 2 books that Janet Campbell will be using for her class for SEE. So plethora of books to purchase. And also that Reverend Linda will sign your books, while she's here. So to think about that. And if you all can please stand. Oh, excuse me, not yet you. I said this the first time too. I did it the first time too. The chaplains, the prayer chaplains, if they can please stand. So if you see these wonderful people with these white shawls, these are our prayer soldiers, warriors. I invite you to go up to them, whether it's a joy or concern, but again, that they are the anchor and help us remember to remember as far as them seeing whatever the challenge is, seeing it right, not setting it right, but just supporting you. They're here every week and throughout the week. So thank you, prayer chaplains. And if I could have Carolyn Gauthier come.
I just want to take this moment to really acknowledge Benny as an incredible gift that he is. And he is definitely a magnet for talent, as you can see today. He came from a family of talented people, and he's brought such gifts to us here. To the choir, and he learned how to play gospel music just for us. And great sense of humor, a wonderful personality, a deeply spiritual guy. We love you, and we're going to miss you very much. But we wish you all the best and wonderful, wonderful luck as you move forward.
Please stay standing. One of the things that we do here, I don't know if it was clear, this is Benny's last Sunday here with us. And as you know, we try to train here and teach, do all we can here, understanding that people go out into the world. They leave us, they come back, they circle around, they hover, but Benny's headed out. So would you all please join me in blessing him? Hands up, the unity blessing. We love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the Christ in you. And so it is. Amen.
And if you could stay standing, because we're going to, if you could please say with me our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. And please join hands with the person next to you and sing out our peace song.
If there was ever a man who was generous, gracious, and good, that was my dad, the man. A human being so pure he could live like a king, 'cause he knew the real treasure in life to be devoted to and always stand by me, so I'd be unafraid and free. If there was ever a man who was generous, gracious, and good, that was my dad, the man. If there was ever a man who was generous, gracious, and good, That was my dad, the man, a human being so strong he could live like a king, 'cause he knew the real pleasure in life to be devoted to and always stand by me, so I'd be unafraid and free. If there were ever a man who was generous, gracious, and good, that was my dad, the man. That was my dad, the man. That was my dad, the man. Thank you so much. Thank you.